Welcome to Read the Bible with me with Steve Hernandez. Me? I'm Steve Hernandez. Whee! Great to be here. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Subscribe on the podcast app for Apple. And subscribe over at Spotify. Leave us a review and we will talk about it. I haven't even looked to see if we have any reviews, have we?
I'll check for you right now.
Okay, check right now. Thank you, though. All the support. You all have been wonderful. Very sad news. We're gonna, we're 2 weeks ahead of you. So by the time you hear this, you would have been fully mourned by now. Do we have any reviews?
Oh yeah, we have 4 written reviews so far.
Okay, let's hear them.
In total, we have 9. The first one comes from Julia Elizabeth.
Okay.
The podcast is a godsend, all caps. Steve Hernandez is the way, the truth, and the light. Whoa. Praise be for this truly honest to God great pod.
Thank you so much, Julia Elizabeth. That's my wife.
I was going to say, wait, Julia.
I know, it's funny. I could have not said something, but it's obviously my wife. So I want you all to know that I will only tell the truth to you. Go on. Let's read the second one.
Stadium Status 132.
Don't know this person.
Is that your cousin or something?
No. I don't know who this person is.
They said good stuff. That's the title.
Okay.
And then the description is the stuff is good.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's read the other 2. But I'm like, if we get a bad one, I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this because what if I spin out? What if I get like sad or something? But go on.
Number 3 here is from Fat Dweeb.
Okay, I like that. I like fat dweebs. Go on.
And no, it's not me.
Okay.
It says great. It's a great podcast, folks.
All right, perfect. I love that, Fat Dweeb. And then finally, cross my fingers that we don't get a bad one, but let's go on and read it.
This one's from Carb Queen. This is the first one we got.
Okay.
Pod God is the title.
Oh, okay.
So happy to see Steve from Who's Your God keep on doing the Lord's work. Prayer emoji.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carb Queen. And I have gotten a lot of great feedback. Y'all have been wonderful. I have gotten a nude from someone who was like, thank you for keep making God podcasts. So thank you. Please send all the nudes to me through Instagram. This person asked first if it was okay. Always ask first before you send a nude. It's just polite, but I welcome them. I love them. Thank you so much. Very sad news that we found out just yesterday, but Norm MacDonald died at the age of 61. He passed away from a 10-year battle with cancer, and it is very sad.
Yeah.
You heard about this right before you recorded the newest Isimo, right? Yeah,
shout out to Ryan Reyes. He fucking dropped that shit on us literally right after I pushed record. I push record and Ryan's like, "Oh man," and I'm like, "What, Ryan?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Just tell me, Ryan. You can't now. I need to know."
Yeah.
And then he said Norm died, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's not as popular to regular people, but for real comedy fans and for stand-ups especially, Norm MacDonald is like a true stand-up. I would go so far as almost say the true stand-up right now who he always did what was funniest. And he always said the funniest thing. He got fired from SNL because one of the producers was best friends with OJ, and he said, "You can't do any more OJ jokes," and he just went in on OJ.
He did 30 minutes of OJ jokes on SNL.
Which is absolutely the funniest thing you could do. He wasn't a perfect guy or anything, but he just loved stand-up so much, and he loved stand-up comedians. And anybody who's met Norm, any stand-up, really, really loved him. I was fortunate enough to hang out with him a couple times. The first time was in Portland. I think I'd only been doing stand-up a couple years, and I was staying with Amy Miller, who I barely knew, but she was always very nice to me. Amy was hosting for Norm up there at Helium. Sean O'Connor was opening. Afterwards, I saw the hour, and then a different night, after I did my show, Amy's like, "Oh, we're going to go hang out at the strip club. That's a steakhouse. It's called the Acropolis, I think, and it's still in Portland. It's a steakhouse and a strip club, and it's awesome." If you all don't know about Portland strip clubs, they have tons of strip clubs. They're all very cool women, and everyone. It's like a hip thing to do there. It's not frowned upon usually. But I went to pick up Shane Torres from someplace. So then we went to meet up with Norm and Sean O'Connor and Amy. And dude, he was like, whatever you want Norm Macdonald to be, that way, he was like that way and more. He was like super nice, telling tons of stories, making tons of, saying like, oh, Farley would have loved this place. Like that kind of shit where you're like, what? You're a new comic and you're just like, what the fuck? You're going crazy because I mean, you expect famous people to be like, oh, no. But he just wasn't that way.
Yeah.
Just a super kind, hilarious, very, very funny comic. I wish I could tell. I can't say this joke on air anymore, but and even Sean O'Connor, who he opened up for him for years, and he even said on his tribute to him, like, the last time I talked to Norm on the phone, Norm told me this joke that I can't repeat.
Yeah.
But he was just so funny. And a lot of what he did too, even with that kind of stuff, I know I'm like a alternative East Side comic. I'm never trying to police anybody. There are jokes that me and Gerardo make to each other, not on the air, that we can make because we know we don't think like that or anything like that. You can if you want. There are people who argue to do it publicly. I don't even like to do that stuff. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Because Alcoholics Anonymous, I can't go on the Tonight Show and say I'm a part of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
But I could tell you that I am,
Yes. I mean, and that's one of the things about humor is I love humor because it helps people to connect. And you're like telling someone an inside secret a lot.
Yeah.
And saying them some jokes that are crass or that I couldn't say or wouldn't say to most people, I could say to a close friend.
Yeah.
And because they know the context of that joke, it's very funny. There are some comedians who argue you should be able to do that all the time. I'm not one of those.
People saying like, white people saying the N-word on stage.
Yes.
Yes. Or even a construction worker like whistling at girls at work. He's not going to go home and whistle at his wife in front of his kids. You know what I mean?
It would be okay for him to whistle at his wife in front of his kids. It would be okay not okay.
But it's sensibility.
Yes, I'm sure there are black friends and white friends where the white guy could say the N-word to him by themselves and they laugh because they think it's funny.
Yeah.
And, if you are the kind of person who think it's never okay, then you don't understand the mind of a comedian. I'm not advocating for that all the time, but I just said between friends, oftentimes you could say things that you wouldn't normally say to regular people. That's one of the uses of humor. And Norm fought very hard for that. He was very much against like politically correct humor.
Yeah.
I'm not for politically correct humor. I'm not trying to me, being funny is the most. You got to be true, say the truth, and you got to be funny. I'm more aware than a lot of comics. There's things that I could say, but I don't like to make gay people feel bad about themselves. I don't like to make women feel bad about themselves. I don't like to make trans people feel bad about themselves. I think these people have it rough generally, and so I try to avoid that shit. I don't know if Norm typically really does that.
Yeah.
But as a comic, I mean, I loved him. He also loved people so much. He did have a twinkle in the eye that generally he can get away with a lot of things that a lot of people normally couldn't, because you can sense how much he loves people and how much he was just fucking around, which I think is the true heart of a comic.
And also, like you said before on a past episode, is that when you go to open mics, it kills something inside of you. It kills that... what you were trying to say is like your greenness, where you're like, I'm gonna make it because I'm funny,
Yeah.
And it also kind of like makes you realize that, you know the room, and don't go on stage and say this nasty crass joke that you say to your friends.
Yeah. Say
a well thought out, clever material that is maybe we're gonna make the whole room laugh, as opposed to this one fucking creepy dude in the front.
Well, the Apostle Paul says, and this is one of the rules I live by in my life, all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. So that's how I try to live almost every area of my life, where I have the freedom. The Apostle Paul will tell you I have the freedom through Christ. I guess I kind of believe that. I don't believe in most of that shit, but I can do whatever I want, but I don't know if those things will be beneficial. So
Preach, baby.
Yeah. So a lot of open micers, when they first start, they'll do rape jokes. They'll do like, I say crass or whatever. I don't give a fuck about any of that. If it's funny, if it works, if it's smart, all that stuff, or if it's dumb. Sometimes the very dumbest things, and Norm Macdonald oftentimes did the very dumbest thing.
Yeah.
So dumb that you can't believe he said it, and it's the funniest thing. But you got to get good about that stuff. So, like I said, when you're doing it, but I've seen Norm rip a room in half, say stuff that like purposely like he knew would make half the room mad, even though he was joking around. I mean, I've seen, and to me, there is something very incredible to watch a stand-up do that. To me, I know Patrice O'Neal would say, like, who also had his problems, Patrice O'Neal would say, like, that's the best sound a comedian can make. And I remember I can hear Patrice recordings where you hear half the room being like, no, and like screaming, like, ah! I mean, he was such a misogynist, but he was so smart and funny that he would say things that were so outlandish. I remember one recording, I think it might be on Mr. P, where Patrice said he just said, would you women, like, I think he let it when he said, he's like, we're just better than you. Yeah. And then you hear the women go crazy, like, no, fuck you, all this stuff. And then he said, let me ask you something. If you were to choose, come back, if you were in heaven and you were to choose to be a man or a woman, which one would you choose? And it would just get quiet. And then he'd start laughing. He's like, yep, I told you. Because I don't, as wonderful as women are and stuff like that, it's such a terrible weight to bear. Women have to go through so much awful stuff. Childbirth, yes, but also getting worried every day that they're going to get sexual, all these terrible things that nobody in their right mind would choose that. Yeah. I don't think, am I saying something crazy? I know there's all these wonderful things about being a woman, but I mean, it's so awful too in so many ways that it's like, yikes. But that was the brilliance of Patrice. Yeah. So even though in real life he might have been a monster sometimes, that's the difference between Patrice and Norm, though, is I really do believe Norm was almost universally loved. Yeah. And it's such a tragedy. Mm-hmm. 61 is nothing. But we are grateful for the time we had with him.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started comedy, I went to go see him when the Brea Improv changed to that larger, the new Brea Improv. I went to go see him like one of the first weekends it was open with Miguel, and I was a new comic, and I recorded the whole set. I recorded it because I wanted to listen to it after the fact. I mean,
audio, you just taped it?
Yeah, audio, not video, but I just want to listen to it after the fact. And I still have it. So like, I'm going to sit down one day and listen to it. It was after he recorded Hitler's Dog. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was a new set after that. And I don't think he came out with a special after that.
I'd love to hear that. Yeah. That'd be great. A bootleg Norm.
Yeah. Yeah. We were sitting literally right in front we were in the front row.
And you had your phone out recording?
Yeah.
And nobody said anything?
I think I had it in my little sleeve right here. Okay. Yeah.
There's a you bootlegged him. Yeah, that was illegal.
I never put it out though. I just kept it.
Yeah, that's true. There's a What's Happening, if you remember the What show. I know you don't, but there's about black teenagers called What's Happening, where they bootlegged the Doobie Brothers two-parter. One of my favorites of all times television. Rerun, the big fat black guy, was recording them with a huge tape player, and he was dancing, and it fell out, and then the Doobie Brothers stopped playing and looked at it on the ground, and that was the end of the first one. Great episode. I just revealed my age. I talk about my age all the time, but yikes. We love you, Norm. We are going to miss you. It's a great loss for comics and mankind, but we're so grateful that we had our time with you. We get a lot of feedback on the TikTok, especially about the Mexican Heritage Night clip. I know about Chavez Ravine. Okay. Yeah. I'm not stupid. There must have been 30 or 40 comments or whatever that. This is what I firmly believe about the internet, and you might disagree with, you might get mad at me, Gerardo. But whenever anyone tries to argue with me on the internet, and I don't know them, I block them right away. Oh, okay. Absolutely block them. And so on the thing, people kept bringing up Dodgers and how dare the Dodgers have a Mexican Heritage Night and Chavez Ravine. I know about Chavez Ravine. Let me tell you, if you think Chavez Ravine is bad, Wait till you hear about what America has done to Mexicans. Yeah. I mean, they've done nothing but rape and pillage us and take over our land. I mean, the Native Americans, wow, what America has done to them. We live in a capitalistic society. Capitalism rules everything about it. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Chavez Ravine used to contain a few villages of Mexican. I mean, I use the term villages, but it really was like villages where Mexican families lived. And through eminent domain, they kicked the Mexican families out of that to clear it out, to have a public housing thing they were going to build and give those Mexican families that, place them in the public housing. The old owner of the Dodgers, though, that he was coming from Brooklyn, checking out LA in a plane. He saw the knockdown area and he said, that's where I want my stadium. That's where they built Dodger Stadium today. Very fucked up. Culture Clash, the Latino sketch group, put out something, I think it's like 25 years ago now, but you can look it up on YouTube. It's called Chavez Ravine. Look it up. It's very informative. It's very funny. Those guys are legends. Yeah, it's fucked up what the Dodgers did to those people, or what LA did to those people, and what America has done to those people. But, I mean, there's no way in capitalism that we're called to live some kind of like pure, like, I mean, you know, if you have an Apple phone, truly, the things that the people who make Apple phones have gone to, committing suicide, forced labor, all these things, to give us an affordably priced Apple phone. This is the world we live in. A ton of fucked up shit happens all the time that we have to live in this society. And if you stop to think about it, we wouldn't be able to do anything. Do you eat meat? Do you eat meat from factory farming? It's disgusting. And almost, I don't believe in sin like this, but the things we do to those animals are horrendous and horrifying. And if you were to see that stuff, you would be grossed out. But, you know, I eat meat. I don't know if I'm going to stop anytime soon, but I do feel like, what are you looking at?
I wanted to bring up the comment section.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just to see who was the most liked Chavez Ravine comment.
I only left one up, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but go on.
No, so the most popular comment was Abuelita, best hype man ever.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Not all heroes wear capes, but you are also deleting comments, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Those, whenever anybody made that stuff, because it's just like, it's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to debate anybody online.
But I will debate you here.
Yeah. You can. Yeah. I will debate you if we're friends or something. I just don't think the internet is the place. I know that a lot of people use the internet for that, but I don't like fighting online. I would barely fight with anybody in real life unless you're my friend. To me, the internet doesn't mean you have access to me whenever the fuck you want. You know, like I said, there's people I won't debate in real life at the bar when I'm bartending because I think you're a moron. Yeah. So if you're going to come at me on like our comedy clip about something like that, I just don't know you. Yeah. And I don't have your respect and you don't have my respect. So I'll just kick you the fuck off. Let me tell you why I love baseball. Why I love Dodger baseball. Because I'm not saying that like I'm like better than you. I started watching baseball. I got into Dodger baseball maybe like 5 or 6, 7 years ago. And my brother was always into it. My Uncle Mario, who passed away, my Aunt Juanita, my Uncle Mark, and his wife Dora, they always loved Dodger baseball. But I, like many people, thought that baseball was boring as fuck. But I don't know if you all remember, Spectrum like bought the rights to Dodgers, and it fucked everyone because everyone had DirecTV.
Yeah.
At the Chatterbox, we had Spectrum. So suddenly I would have 6 or 7 guys and our married couples and everyone come watch the game. And I was bartending. I bartend on Thursdays and Fridays there, and we'd just watch the game. And I had to sit there and watch the game. And so you're just sitting there, and I'm at work, so who gives a fuck? I'm just sitting there. And then you start to like watch them, and you're like, oh, I like this guy. I like this guy with long red hair. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And you just start like, and then suddenly I like give a fuck about baseball. And I care about this team. I care about the players. But more importantly, I mean, it comes from such a long heritage of my uncles, my brother, all these people I'm not like a huge sports guy, but I like sports because it allows me to hang out with these people that I love and talk to them for 4 hours. I love going to Dodger games. Me and Gerardo are going to a Dodger game tonight. Fernando Mania, motherfucker. Yeah. But I went with last night with my buddy Scott, and we sat for 4 hours, and we watched the game, and we talked for 4 hours. Listen, the way men are in this society, I don't drink anymore, so I can't go to bars with my friends and hang out for 4 hours. But I can go with my friend Scott, and we could talk for 4 hours while we watch the game. It's a way to connect with people. It's a way to connect with my family. And I'm willing to take that, knowing that in the 1950s, those poor families were fucked over. Mm-hmm. So it fucking sucks. I think life under capitalism will always suck where we have to make these compromises. But I love Dodger baseball, fool. Fernando Mania.
Yeah, so as far as deleting comments and whatnot,
yeah.
I believe that it is good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I also believe in just accepting reality. Like,
yeah.
People will have these reactions to things.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps you with the algorithm, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I might leave them up with but I just don't. I think people, mm-hmm. whoever would think to leave a negative comment on somebody's stuff that they don't like, I don't like you as a person.
Yeah.
I think you're a bad person, probably.
Yeah.
You're an idiot, and you think that you're more important than you are. And a lot of these people, I go to their accounts, and they have nothing.
Yeah.
They're not producing anything.
Yeah.
So any fucking loser who would, like, watch what we made and then say, oh, you know, fuck this guy like that. Fuck you. Go home, hang out with your loser friends, quote Anchorman to each other. We're making shit over here. God has called us to make things. And if you don't like it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Move on. But to leave a comment, I truly think like, oh, you're a maniac. Have you seen these people who leave comments under porn scenes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like these guys. If you're leaving a comment under porn scenes, like you're I do read the comments sometimes on porn scenes. There are ones where I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. It's never bad though. Yeah. They're always like, I wish that was me. I wish that was me. I just think that this is a problem with the internet where people think that your opinion counts the same as everyone's, that everyone has a right to their opinion. It absolutely does not. That's why I love comedians. I love other creators. Anyone who's in, what did Teddy Roosevelt, that Teddy Roosevelt quote? Anyone who's in the arena fighting, battling, and then in the Coliseum, and then all these people are fucking watching. I don't give a fuck what these people think.
Yeah.
I give a fuck what my fellow comics, my fellow creators, all those people think. If you love it, good. If you don't like it, you can move on. Algorithm, be damned. But I do think like you're probably a bad person if you're at home writing negative stuff on the internet towards somebody.
Yeah. It's funny when most of my clips have more than 10,000 views. Some of them have 1 million.
Yeah.
Some of them have 100,000, right? Whenever you get those kind of clips where yours has 101,000 now.
Yeah.
There is always one thing that sticks.
Yeah.
The Chavez Ravine thing. Multiple people.
Yeah.
They hear Dodgers, they're like, Chavez Ravine, you know?
Yeah.
For me, it's like I put up a tamale clip that's doing well now.
Yeah.
Where I talk about how if you love tamales, in my opinion, tamales are to food what feet are to sex.
What do you mean when you say that?
Just like you're a freak if you love it. Like, okay. Maybe you once in a while, yeah, you know? But in my opinion, you're a freak if you love tamales. If tamales are your favorite food. Anyways, aside from the point. Yeah. But I thought it was off the cuff, and I'm like, I'm a fucking genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny.
Yeah. And so in that clip, everyone, the common sentiment right now is negative 73,000 followers. This fool's gonna lose all of his followers and shit.
Yeah.
When it's like I gained 2,000 followers from that. So it's like these people are not based in reality.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're telling me. It might affect the algorithm. It helps the algorithm when bad people comment and stuff. I just don't want to. I don't care to serve those people.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that very well may hold me back in comedy, but that's why I run the Chatterbox. That's why I run Hernia. Next one is October 6th, so next week. It might be sold out by now. Featuring Brian Simpson, Megan Gailey, Chris Estrada, Jonathan Serra-Rao, Lisa Chanou at the Yard Theater here on Melrose Avenue. Make sure you buy your tickets. But I don't want bad people. I don't want bad fans. I don't want misogynists. I don't want racists. I don't want these people. I don't want white supremacists as fans.
Yeah.
It's gonna fuck me. I know, because I think that America has a lot of that stuff in them, but I don't give a fuck. I'd rather just keep bartending and making stuff for people that love it and that aren't insane enough to write negative comments.
Yeah.
Algorithm, be damned.
In my belief, though, I believe in being a creator.
Yeah.
And accepting the outcome.
Yeah.
Granted, I did post a clip about how I thought that the word colonizer was ridiculous.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I got the most hate on. That's all hate. You know?
Let me ask you about that. I know that's your podcast, so it's funny that we're bringing this up about that. But I did see that, and I've heard you use it in your stand-up. When people say colonizer, they're talking about what?
Colonizers are basically like Hernán Cortez that came from Spain to conquer the Aztecs.
So white people.
Yeah, white people, Europeans conquering native land and like Tenochtitlan, like taking over and whatnot.
So when you say you don't like that word or you don't believe in the word, what do you mean by that?
I believe that is, and listen, just like I believe
we're just talking.
Yeah, yeah, we're just talking.
Yeah,
but like just like Latinx, I don't believe it solves the problem. You know,
so
I believe yes that the colonizing is terrible. I believe all that. I'm not a fucking idiot. You know, I'm not for colonizers.
Yes.
What I say when I say that is that it's a cheap way to feel like you're doing something, just like calling somebody a colonizer instead of really looking at the real issues that we face here now. Just like I believe Latinx is a failed concept, in my opinion. All right, we're just talking. I don't believe that it's going to solve the issues that we have. You know, it's a gendered language, and people that don't feel included in it will never feel included in it because that's how the language was made. You know. So
you don't think that when like a Mexican trans person, when they hear Latinx, that they don't feel included in that?
Oh no, I'm saying that that's a great. Dude, the concept is great. Yes. I'm for trans rights. Yeah, we're just talking. No, listen, I want them to feel included.
Yes,
you know? But I believe it's the enemy you're fighting here. It will not give up. They will not surrender as far as that goes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I specifically with that thing, I say Latinx and Latino people because I know there are swaths of people that do not want to be identified as Latinx people, and I want people who do identify as Latinx to feel included too.
Yeah.
So I say to Latinx and Latinos, I say that I don't know. People are going to try to. If Latinx people get mad at that, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Because I feel as bad if it's going to upset like my uncle for whatever reason. I don't want to upset them either, and not that I want everyone to feel included. And I'm sorry if people feel left out. I'm going to say both words because I want everyone to feel included. Yeah. And I care about trans people too. That's why I'm going to say Latinx. But there are a lot of Latino people that feel like that's white shit, right? Yeah. And I also believe that there's a lot of things about Mexican culture that are beautiful. Yeah. I believe the language is beautiful. Yes. You know, not to say like, oh, get out of here, you trans, because you're not going to change the language. Yeah. The language itself is a beautiful language. The culture is a beautiful thing. To focus on these couple of aspects really kind of demeans Mexican people, in my opinion. To constantly bring up colonizers, we survived through that. Yes. You know, and that's my stance on it. Is like, why are you attempting to bring up things that we had no control over? I have no control over Hernán Cortez trying to make a deal and killing us all as Aztecs, you know? Yeah. I don't have control over that. All I have control over now is appreciating what survived from my culture. Yeah. Anyways. I guess people would argue that Latinx stuff though is the next step to move forward. Mm-hmm. And I'm like saying it's failed. It's failed. I don't think it has failed yet. I think it's too early to tell if it's failed. An extreme stance I'm taking, but yeah. I mean, I don't think it's over yet. I think you're right that to battle against misogyny and patriarchy, it's going to take a long time, and it's worse than we could ever imagine. Yeah. I think it's ingrained in such a way that we have no idea how much. I mean, I say this stuff all the time. I was like, you can never underestimate how much we hate women. Yeah. Yeah. My friend Cody, you remember Cody Decker? Yeah. He has a great joke about like there's this rape rally, you know, like against rape. Yeah. And his joke is like, I mean, we already it's illegal. Like, what are you guys fighting for? You know, like in a sense, you know. Yeah, but you know, we know of like policing of, you know, trans hate speech or whatnot in Mexico, I believe goes further. If you make examples out of people that are misogynists, that do these terrible things to the community, that's somewhere to start. Not changing the language. That's going to have an immediate pushback, you know.
Yeah, like I believe there are steps you could take to get there.
Yeah,
you know?
but you can. Language also is important, Gerardo.
Yeah,
you don't say like leave the language alone.
Oh, I don't think that's the stepping stone.
I think you don't have to choose one path.
Yeah, true.
I think you could do a whole. The language is included in the whole path.
People are gonna hate me.
No one's got. I mean, we're all learning together. This is how you learn: is you talk to your friends about this shit.
Yeah.
I know you don't hate trans people.
No,
we're trying to figure this stuff out. And as as a Mexican person in all of this stuff, we're trying to not be colonized also too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And all of it, it's just like with comedy too. As much as I don't want to exclude people, I don't want to not be able to just state the truth also as I see it, because it might hurt somebody's feelings. I think that's why comedy, the best comedy says the most obvious thing that nobody's saying, that sometimes hits the hardest. That's what it's for, to say like, this is a very shitty situation. I'm going to say it out loud to make things better. So, okay, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I forgot how we got here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's all part of it. But we're trying to figure out all of this stuff. We love everyone and we want everyone to feel accepted, but we don't want to be railroaded into something that doesn't ring true either for us. Or if we are hesitant about a thing, let's talk it through and figure out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a better solution. Maybe your way's right, but it just doesn't feel right initially. Help us. I think that's what we're supposed to help each other figure the thing out so that it can click in our heads and then it makes sense. If you're wondering what is going on with Dan Reeve, so am I. Let's check in with him. Let's play this clip, Gerardo.
What was the video again?
Oh, it's Dan Reeve, Flexible Faith.
Anyone here, like, you go to the gym, anyone here, you work out, and it's sort of funny, like, being at the gym. Like, when you really think about it.
This is just about being at the gym right now. Dan, by everything he says, has never been to the gym. My big complaint always with Dan Reeve is he's such an alien. He tries to act like he's human.
Yeah.
He's not human. In this clip, he's going to mention SC fans. His dad was always like, oh, I'm a big UCLA fan and I'm a big Laker fan. And even with his dad, it was kind of like this. For Dan, it's for real. Like, they try to act like they like sports to be like, see, I'm a human.
Yeah.
So he's going to mention that real quick. But this clip is basically about the gym. He says some weird shit. Let's listen to the rest of it.
Like all the egos at the gym. All the people who spend money on things they don't really need to spend money on, like rather than all those supplements and all those shaker bottles, like maybe get a trainer. Like
pause that. So for some reason he says a lot of egos at the gym. These people that buy things they shouldn't. Maybe they shouldn't let that money go to a trainer. I don't know. This is not in the Bible. It is an odd thing to say. Don't buy the shaker bottles. Pay for a trainer instead. There's just something going on at Dan right now. He's just like thinking about the gym and stuff. All right, let's watch some more.
It's just a funny thing. And it's amazing that we can see it at
Nothing
the gym,
funny.
but we often don't see it in our own lives. We can see it in other people, but we don't often see it in ourselves. It's amazing because at the gym, you'll see some guys asking each other, you'll see some girls asking each other, like, bro or sis, like, how much you lift?
Sis, how much you lift? Hey, sis, how much you lift?
Oh my God.
I want to sign up for a gym so I could see a woman and say, sis, how much you lift? All right, here we go.
Like how much you squat? How much you bench press? How much you deadlift? Now, no one's ever asked me that.
Because you're not at the gym.
Why y'all laughing? Oh, you SC fans.
That's what I was talking about.
But here's the thing. No one is ever asking anyone, yo, how flexible are you?
Pause it. That's it. Yo, how flexible? How far can you touch your toes? Which, by the way, and this is a gendered argument by Dan Reeve, because all women that I know that do yoga and everything, being flexible, anybody who knows fitness stuff, being flexible is a huge deal.
Yes.
Sign of health and everything. Dan just doesn't know that yet. The title of the sermon is called Flexible Faith. He goes on to kind of like talk about, we talk about a strong faith, but not a flexible faith. He never explains what flexible faith is. Dan's a bad preacher.
Yeah. I want to see you guys have a preach off, and then the judge will just be like, all right, gyms. And then you guys both have to like somehow talk about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, he never, the way he could explain this is to juxtapose strength training and flexibility stuff. He never does it in the sermon.
Yeah.
I watch so much Dan Reeve preaching, and I'm always looking for clips like this, but a lot of it's just boring.
Yeah.
Can't believe people still go to the church. But my heart goes out to Dan sometimes. I feel bad. I was watching Dan Reeve preach yesterday, and I was just like, that's so sad that I watch his sermons and just try to like pick them apart.
I picture you on your couch just like this.
I mean, Julia just hears me from the next room. I'm watching hours of Dan Reeve looking for clips.
I suggest that everyone that watches this go subscribe to the channel and give us timestamps.
Yeah. Feel free. And also, truly, if you know of other preachers, I don't like crazy pastors. That's the reason why we're going to watch a Chad Veach clip from the Instagram right now. But I do think the reason why I watch these guys is I think Dan Reeve is like a huge wannabe version of Chad Veach. I think Chad Veach is a great preacher. He's basically preaching the things Christians have preached against or about, forever in America for the past 120 years or something like that. I think Chad Veach is a good preacher of the Bible. I think he's mostly full of shit, but Dan's just the wannabe version. If you know of pastors like this that are on the internet, please hit us up at, what's our Gmail again?
Our Gmail is Read the Bible with Me Pod.
Yeah, read the Bible with Me podcast at Gmail. Hit us up, send us clips, tell us about them. We'd love to listen because I just right now watch Dan and Chad, but I'm open to more hip stuff. I like it because, let's just play this Chad Veach clip right now.
Also, I want to say that if you want to just DM us on our Instagram also, if you haven't followed us there already.
One of the best investments I've ever made in my life is buying a wedding ring. Saving up that money and going out and buying that thing and going and getting on my knee and asking this girl, will you please be my wife? And can I serve you? Can I love you? Can I cherish you? Can we grow old together? Can we create a family together? That investment right there saved my life. It's the best decision I've ever made. Marriage is the best decision you can make because I feel like God wants, it says what God has brought together, let no man separate. God brings two people together. For this reason, a man shall leave his home, and be joined. This is the biblical model of how we're supposed to live our life. Marriage is a gift. And so
marriage.
The best thing I've ever done, going out, getting that ring, getting on my knee and saying, please, I beg of you, will you marry me?
Sorry about that. We'll get you headphones next time.
When I first saw this clip, it's so evangelical Christianity and being an American and being a good family man is so tied together. I mean, first off, Chad Veach is so fucking hokey. I mean, the fact that someone said, I don't think someone asked these questions. Gary Vee does this stuff a lot too, where they ask, like, somebody asked them, what's the greatest investment you ever made, Chad Veach? Nobody asked you that, okay, Chad Veach? Nobody ever fucking asked you that. And then for him to say, the greatest investment I ever made? Gotta be the wedding ring. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That was not your fucking greatest investment. And he goes, saving, so that when I could propose to my wife, how can I serve you better? How can I love you? That's not what the Bible teaches. The Bible does teach that men are above women. So even at the very most, a woman is a helpmate to a man, the very rib, but the man is always the head thing. That's something you'll never hear from Chad Veach. I'd be surprised if they let a woman be a pastor over men even. Because as much hip as they are, they do believe, the Bible teaches ultimately, that men are ahead of women, that homosexuality is a sin, all this bullshit that they keep under covers. But I just don't like this stuff about marriage specifically. Do you know who didn't give a fuck about marriage? Jesus Christ. He did not get married. The Apostle Paul did not get married. All this stuff, if this is so important to God, wouldn't God have gotten him married the time he was flesh here? When we talk about the nuclear family, Christians love to ignore the Old Testament when guys like Solomon and David had multiple wives. Hey, man, if having multiple wives is biblical, baby, sign me up. I'll start believing in the Bible all over again. I want 4 wives. I want 5 wives. But this idea that the traditional nuclear family, Jesus said at one point, I wish I had the verses on hand, that someone came and said, hey, Jesus, your mother and your brothers are outside. And Jesus said, I don't have any mothers and brothers. All my brothers and my brothers and sisters are people who follow the word of God. Jesus didn't give a fuck about the traditional family. The Bible doesn't give a fuck about the traditional family. This is all capitalistic, man-made bullshit. We, of course, know that marriage came from property. When we treated women like property, this is a way they traded that you would inherit money as you would, hey, give me that, we'll unify everyone. Nobody gives a fuck about the women of the thing. And then now in the past 150 years, we think of marriage as a romantic thing, but it's still basically about property. But this is another way that modern Christians try to act like being a good American is the same thing as being a good Christian, when our values are supposed to be completely different from them. Why do you think here in America you get a tax break if you get married?
Yeah.
Why do you think here in America you get tax breaks if you have kids? Because once you get married, and once you especially have kids, you're forced to do whatever job you can do to make money to provide for them. You are, at that point, not allowed to think that much, and you'll take whatever the fuck the government gives you because you're stuck once you have kids, truly. And that's why you get a tax break. They want you to get stuck. They want you to fucking get caught up in the system. And they have now taken over, like the Roman government took over Christianity before. America has hijacked Christianity, tried to make it seem that being a good American and being a good Christian, when being a good Christian, truly the teachings of Christ, cause us to reject the things of capitalism. But we don't play that way, but right, Chad Veach. That's not how we've been playing, right, Veach? What do you think about that, Gerard?
Chad Veach is a shill.
He is a shill. He wants your money. He wants to be rich.
Yeah.
He's going to dress dope and hip and wear gold chains and all that stuff with your tithe money.
Yeah.
That's how the system is supposed to be. They want you to think that getting married is great, that being by yourself isn't bad. But like I said, if you're by yourself, or even if you don't have kids, nobody has any control of you. You don't need money as much. You can do what you want with your time. And but this is all about control with the church and with our country.
Also, like, how much does it cost to get married through the church?
Well, I mean, that's the wedding industry too,
Yeah.
which churches like are a big part of. They would love all that. They love these big weddings where you have to give them money. People go into debt, $50,000. My first marriage, though my ex's parents paid for most of it, it was very modest. We bought everyone food. We had an open bar that was wine and beer. And it was about 200 people, so that's a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but they, I think we paid $5,000 and they paid $25,000, $30,000 a wedding.
That's bananas, dude.
13 years ago,
Yeah.
and that was modest. I'm telling you, that was modest. Now there's people who pay $50,000, but this is all a part of it. This is all America.
Yeah.
This is all an engagement ring where you're paying $5,000, $10,000 for that kind of stuff. It's all ways to get people into debt. And to show everybody around you, see, I'm okay. Look, I've got a wife and kids. I'm a good family person. I'm a good person. Can't you see that by my wife and my kids, by our wedding and by all this shit? And then meanwhile, you're shackled with debt.
Yeah.
But yeah, Veach talking about marriage. The Bible doesn't have too much to say about it. Some of the greatest men in the Bible had multiple wives that my mom won't talk to me about. They don't, and Jesus didn't have a wife at all. Paul didn't have a wife at all. The Apostle Paul did not like women. So whenever you hear people trying to tie being a good married person into this stuff, don't buy it. The Bible just doesn't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
Traditionally, they'll try to pass things on, but if you want to know about what the Bible says about it, it says contradicting things. So that's what the Bible has to say about marriage. Let's get into the Bible, shall we?
Yay!
Picking up on James chapter 2, verses 14 through 25. Oh, Gerard, I got to tell you, I love these verses.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be great. You're going to love this stuff. We're going to read verses 14 through 18 first right here. What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save him? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes, and daily food. If one of you says to him, go, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about the physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But some of you will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do. I love this shit. Don't you love this shit?
Yeah.
This is, to me, as I'm reading this too, this is to me like the crux of how one should live their lives. Except I probably have more of a controversial tilt on it now. But this is basically, you'll see Republicans and Christians now all the time say thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Oh, thoughts and prayers. Yet, like, they don't give a fuck if poor people die. We see earlier, if you haven't been caught up, but James said true religion is helping poor people and helping widows and their kids. That's all there is. That's what I believe the teachings of Christ ultimately boil down to, is to help poor people. But we know that Republicans, and many Democrats also, our government, most people, hate poor people. So what good is it to say, oh, I wish you well, I wish the best for you, and then you don't do anything? What good is it to be a liberal person even and have all these great opinions on things, but not do anything for it? Physically, literally, with your time and money, not do anything about it. What good is that? A couple of weeks ago, on episode 4, I believe, I did say that we would go to this community fridge. And Gerardo, we went to the community fridge. First off, we stopped by this fridge. There's a community fridge if you live in the area on the east side off of Santa Monica. It's a community fridge that my friend Andrea Moore helps run. I think they have community fridges all over the east side of Los Angeles. It's right by the Virgil. I hadn't done this. I have felt compelled for months now. Like you know, there's something on your heart right now where you know you can literally help people in a real way that you feel bad about, and you just haven't done it. It might be someone you know that's poor that you can give $25 to now and then, or there's somebody you could see where you could buy a meal for them once a week, that kind of stuff, and you just haven't set that up. I have felt compelled in the same way to do that to this community fridge, and up until this point, we haven't done it. But that's kind of part of like why I talked about it in the podcast. Yeah. So that you all could help me like be accountable. So I told you all we're going to start going to the community fridge. So we went. And Andrea always, like, when she posts pictures, she posts, like, full fridges and stuff. So I was like, let's stop by the fridge first and see what they have. And, dude, it was so sad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We went, and I do think that people do leave, like, might get something, like, from a, like, fast food place or, like, a Mexican, like a carnitas or something, and leave, like, little things like that there. But when we went, there was, like, kind of shit spilled on it, pretty empty. So next time we're going to bring, like cleanser and stuff so we could clean it too. And the top shelf just stacked with so many, maybe like 50 things of wonton wrappers.
Oh my God.
Do you know what a wonton wrapper is?
Is it like the seaweed paper or no?
It's very similar, yes,
yeah.
But made out of dough.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like my mom used to make wontons. It's like dumpling, like folding paper. Yeah. So made out of dough, and it's like paper basically, but dough. But just it was just like, what the fuck are they going to do with this?
Yeah.
So somebody basically just dumped these things. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know if I were a homeless person, and I just found these like dumpling wrapper things. It was just like, I guess if you're desperate enough, you could eat it. But I was like, fuck. So we went to the store, and Julie and I worked out where I was like, we could spend like $50 or $60 between us, you know, to like buy stuff. So we got, you know, we bought a bunch of canned stuff that that didn't require a can opener, a bunch of soups and like Chef Boyardee stuff. We bought some ramens, we bought eggs, we bought that kind of stuff. And then we took it back there, bananas and, you know, potatoes, stuff too that families could use to. We got back there was an unhoused woman there, and, you know, she looked pretty bad shape, and there was nothing. And so hopefully when we dropped the stuff out, hopefully she got something, you know, from there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with that stuff. I know we want to go every week. I am not a good person. I want you to know this. It's only because we have this thing set up where I was like, I'm going to have to, I told these people I would do this and I'm going to keep doing it. But when we dropped that stuff off, I promise you, I did not think, oh, wow, I'm such a great person. I really felt bad and thought, we should have been doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
I can't believe like I haven't been doing this. It's very minimal. The amount of money I make, I can afford to do that, to skip a meal or not go out or something like that, to buy this for people that I don't know or anything like that. And like I said, after I did it, I'm like, all right, we need to do this every week, and it's not a big deal, and we probably should do more. Whatever that is in your life, I don't know. Do you have something in your, when I'm talking about this, do you have something in your heart that you feel like you should do?
Maybe you want to lose weight and you keep telling your people, I'm going to go to the gym, you know?
Well, I mean,
faith and deeds,
yes.
You know, your faith wants you to lose weight, but your deeds are making you sit on the couch.
Well, yeah,
you know
I mean, there's that aspect to it too. You know, I'm talking about helping poor people. That's true. But also as a comedian and as an artist, it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
All that matters is what you do. So there's so many people. You want to be a writer? Fucking write. Write every day. Nobody's asking you what it is. Mm-hmm. But once you do that, you want to be a stand-up comic? Go do open mics. Mm-hmm. Nobody's even saying shows or anything like that. Go do the thing. So whatever you want to do, just do the thing. And you know, right here, the verses say, faith without deeds is dead. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck good is like faith? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I don't know. Because I truly, the older I'm getting, I truly am like, I don't really care about what anyone believes. All I really care about is what one does. That, and I'm just starting to wonder if what you have faith in even means anything at all. I know Christians will tell you that you have to say this magic prayer to Christ, and then that will be the magic spell that allows you to get into heaven. There's a story, of course, with Christ that isn't in the most early manuscripts. By the way, a lot of people think it was added additionally, but where Christ has a thief on either way, and one guy says, I believe you are the Christ. And Jesus says, because you said that, I'm going to go with. It's very Mexican mom shit.
Yeah.
With this Jesus stuff where it's like, say the spell, and that means you get into heaven. I don't believe in heaven or any of that shit either. So this might not apply to you, but I just don't believe. I don't care what you believe if you are conducting yourself like a good person. I don't care what you're saying at all. But the inverse of that too is I don't care what you think if you're a good person, if you're not fucking doing the thing that would make you, that you're actually helping people. If you are a loving Christian, or if you are a loving Christian and you think unhoused people are bad or gross or whatever like that, are lazy, you're not a loving Christian. I don't know what to tell you. If you are a Christian that continually wants to separate people and say you're of the world, you're sinners and all that stuff, you're not a loving person. And I'm not the only person who believes that. Christ teaches this also too. We're going to head over to Matthew 25:31. I may have read this before, but it truly is when I think about Christ and what he thought. I think about this all the time. You know, I told you before, Gerardo, about last week you posted that clip or whatever where I say, I want God to be like, this feels crazy. I want him in heaven like that. This parable, the parable of the sheep and goats, kind of talks about with what I'm saying right now too. This is Matthew 25 verse 31. When the Son of Jesus is saying this, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his throne in heavenly glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he'll separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Verse 37 says, then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you? You okay?
Yeah. Okay. I was scratching my head.
You were raising your hand. When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison or go to visit you? And the king will reply, I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did to me. Then he'll say to those on the left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for by the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I was a foreigner, basically, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, you didn't clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me. They'll answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty? He will reply, I tell you the truth, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. Then they will go away to eternal punishment. But the righteous to eternal life. That is like truly one of the ways in my heart. So when I think about heaven, which I don't believe in, but all these end things is like, you want to talk about faith, all those things, fucking help the lonely and poor people. This is very simple stuff. In a democratic, in democracy, with all these Republicans and Christians voting pro-life, trying to take away money, funding from schools, trying to take away money from poor people, trying not to get taxed. These are their number one concerns. I tell you the truth, if this God is real, this God will have nothing to do with you. The Bible says that, and I fully believe it.
Yeah, I'm not a good person either.
Yes.
And I have a perverse view of the unhoused, And a full well knowing that I do.
Yes.
I'm not saying that it's something that I believe in fully. I'm trying to change how I look at it. But it never occurred to me to give anything to the homeless.
I don't think you're alone. Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of good, quote unquote, good people that believe that. I know that it's a challenge for me too. And it's because the way this country talks about poor people and thinks about poor people, this country was set up to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, so that everybody has equal opportunity, and that if you are homeless, that you're being lazy, or you're in love with drugs and alcohol more than you're in love living in some certain way.
Which both can go hand in hand.
Of course. Yeah. All of this, all these bad things. Even I was talking to my dad the other day, and my dad, who's a good person and tries to be a good person, and they think that, oh yeah, these people, all these homeless people moved in from other states and stuff like all these things they say so that they don't have to help unhoused people. This so that we don't have to feel guilty about not helping them. Even there's this guy at the bar who's like a punk rock chef guy.
Yeah.
And we were talking about unhoused stuff, and a lot of these here in Los Angeles, a lot of the measures they do is we had this thing called Project Turnkey, and they wanted to kick people out of parks and give them hotel rooms. But a lot of the hotel rooms came with all these rules. You had to be in your hotel room by 7 o'clock. It would last by a month. You couldn't bring any pets. You couldn't bring your stuff, all this stuff. And we were talking about this. And this guy, Tony, who's a real like punk rock, and he was like, yeah, though, they should have rules. You shouldn't get to live any place for free. I don't get to live for free, anything like that. And I was like, you're an adult. These people are still adults. Why should they have to have a fucking rules placed on them for a place to live? And I was like, why do you, a punk rock fucking chef, want these people, the government, to put fucking rules on them? Where the fuck are these rules? Are you in love with rules all of a sudden for yourself? And he's like, I don't know. I can't get too crazy at the bar because they go, Steve's mad at me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be, I'm just a bartender. I don't know. But we have this perverse way. The government and people, we want to think them as separate, that this is their fault. Because if we do not think that, then we will know it's our fault for not helping them. Mm-hmm. Then we'll know that we have failed, and that if you think of them as people, then it will be fucking heartbreaking.
I do think of them as people.
Yes.
And with sobriety, I have stayed long hours talking to homeless people that will come in and try to get sober.
Yeah.
And with those conversations, I believe that's my civic duty with my charity, is hearing them out, even if it is garbage that they're saying or whatever, like gibberish.
Yeah.
Talking to them and, giving them an ear and letting them know that there's people like me that are willing to listen to you. If that's all you really need, is somebody to talk to you.
Yeah. Just so they don't feel like animals. So you could feel like they're there. I mean, the other part of this too is that Reagan gutted mental health in the 80s. Gutted it.
Yeah.
So, all these homeless people that we're mad at and that will keep kicking out of one place, they'll go to another place, that we actually don't provide real housing for them, is because they need mental health. They need mental health help, but there's no money for it. We haven't provided for them. A lot of these people should be getting full 24-hour care, but and there's even the money. I mean, Californians have, the money's there, but our government officials want them to jump through hoops and do all this fucking bullshit. It fucking sucks.
Well, there's that whole Joe Rogan thing. Shout out Joe Rogan, where he talks about how people make money off of the homeless situation in California.
Yeah, that's what he says. It might be true. That's like a whole nonprofit argument that there's all these nonprofit things, but there are. I don't understand because truly the California taxpayers have approved a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it is. Have you heard the term NIMBY before?
No.
NIMBYs are not in my neighborhoods. Wow. So they're these liberal, LA's so liberal. There are these people who buy homes and they're liberal people, but ultimately nobody wants to build a homeless shelter in their neighborhood. So every time they try to build a homeless shelter in their neighborhood, these people are like, not in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So get the fuck out of here. That's why you'll hear people say, oh, they should build these things in Lancaster. Basically, just ship them. Just get all these homeless people out of here. Just get them the fuck away from us. We don't want to look at them. If we were honest with ourselves, that's truly how we feel oftentimes. Is I just don't want to look at them anymore.
Yeah.
Bust them. I mean, I have someone very close to me who was like, just bust them out of here. And I'm like, oh, you mean like the Jewish people in Nazi Germany? Yeah. Just put them on trains and get them the fuck out of here.
See, like the perversion that I'm talking about in my brain is that if there's people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol, it's kind of like a vicious cycle of I'm stuck in this situation, which is understandable. But there's also people that enjoy being homeless. There
are. I mean, I would be lying if I just don't know how many of those people there are.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think the percentage is like that high.
But the perversion in my mind is that I've made it 100%. There's people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol, and there's people that enjoy being homeless.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There are. I think a percentage of people that just want the freedom, but I think a lot of it has to do with mental health. A lot of it has to do with addiction, and I think there are people who have just burned out. They just don't have friends and family anymore, and they're fucked. And even if they wanted to, they don't. To get a job, they don't have an address to write down. Or I forgot the name of the memoir. I feel so bad, but I read a memoir recently by this gay woman. I can't. It was great. I'll try to find it, but she even said she was like hanging by the thread. There's people who work minimum wage jobs and stuff, and she was working, and she was walking by this homeless guy in D.C. and she tried to give him money, and he's like, "No, you keep it." And the homeless guy said, like, "You gotta watch it." He's like, "You're really close." He could tell because once people sense that you're homeless, or once that turn, the way your clothes are, the way you're carrying yourself, then they just don't see you anymore. We just stop seeing them as people.
Yeah. When I was 19 years old, I went to Guadalajara for the second time. And right when we touched down in the plane, we went to a mall that's like basically like, it's a high rise, it feels like, because it's underground. So we were in the center eating burritos, and this guy comes up to us, me and my uncle Lucas and my cousin Juan. And he's like, with this harmonica, he's like, right in front of us, right? And then my uncle Lucas takes out a $20 bill, and he's like, "Take this and get the fuck away from me." And then my uncle Lucas went on to tell me how you should never give to homeless people. Yeah.
I heard her name's Kelly Catrone. She was featured on The Hills and like that kind of stuff, but she's like she throws like fashion events and stuff, but she's not a fashion person. But I read her book. I forget what it's called, but she's featured on like MTV shows like The Hills and shit like that.
Yeah.
And but her book was really, she's very woo woo, and she said, "I always carry money around. And I've been convicted. Maybe I should start doing this too. I've been convicted too to have like $21 bills, even if it's $20 a week. Have the thing, and when someone asks you for money, just give them $1. When the money runs out, it runs out. But to give that helps them so much, or that makes their day, even if it's a beer. When else do you? If I'm homeless, I want a fucking beer. That's when you want a beer the most. But you know, she said, I make it a point to always give them money so they feel like human beings still.
Yeah.
The problem's only going to get worse. I'm telling you, with capitalism, the way things are running, the rich, they're going to keep getting richer. We are going to continue to get poorer. The middle class is going to go away. We are in this together.
Yeah.
But back then, even with the James time, I mean, there were very, very, very poor people then too. So I'm just saying that James says in this part, that if you have faith but not deeds, whatever you believe but you don't back it up with your words, whatever you say you are but you don't act like that thing, it's good for nothing. In fact, and this is actually we'll stop after this. I meant to say more, but we're going long. But dude, check out this verse. This is one of my favorite, funniest verses in the Bible. There's like 5 or 6 verses in the Bible that ever since I was little, like make me laugh so hard. So check this. I'm going to read the verse before and the verse. So he goes, but someone will say, you have faith and I have deeds. And he goes, show me your faith without deeds and I'll show you my faith by what I do. And then verse 19, this is so funny. Check this out. You believe that there is one God? Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. Isn't that so funny? Yeah. You believe there's one God? Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. I love demons going like, one God. I love that. I love demons shuddering. But yeah, I mean, you think about all the people in our world that we know, like, oh yeah, I believe in God and like that. The Bible knows about you people, and it's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck what you believe if you are just being selfish and concerned about your own? Anything that separates us. I believe we're all tied together. I believe we're all brothers and sisters. Any way that we can disconnect, I believe, is evil. And we have to remember that we all are one. I can't believe it. We're going to have to, that'll be the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I just have, the next part is just such a whole cool different thing.
Okay.
That I didn't want to go longer. What are we at right now?
Oh, we're at another homeless story of mine.
Oh, no.
No, 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Sure. We definitely should stop, but I want to hear this homeless story.
So when I was 22 years old, I went to New York for a week, which is far too long. If you're listening to this far.
New York's almost like Vegas.
Yes.
You can go 4 or 5 days, but you go for more than that. You're going to spend too much money. You're going to go too crazy. The bars close at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Go on.
I went for fucking 7 days. And in the middle of the night one night, me and my homie Juan, Homies for Life, we were drinking beers outside of our hotel room in Times Square. This guy, Henry, comes up to us, a homeless guy, and he hands us a piece of paper, 9 by 12. Or 9 by, I don't know the dimensions, but a homeless newspaper. Like they're in the community making this newspaper, and we're like, "What the fuck, Henry? You were drunk."
Yeah,
dude, Henry, come on, dude. Yeah, Henry's like, "Can I get a cigarette?" We're like, "Oh, you can have all the cigarettes." We're fucking wasted. We stayed till 7 in the morning, till the sun came out with this guy.
Yeah,
talking to him, and then the next day I was hungover. I read the newspaper, and I'm like, "This is a shitty ass newspaper, dude." It's just like terrible spelling, no grammar.
Let me tell you one story like that too. This is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But me, my buddy Jack, and my brother Danny, we went to Sam's Hofbrau once, which is a strip club downtown. If you know, we're drunk and we were wasting. We get out of Sam's Hofbrau and we get these burritos. There's some a taco truck there, and we're just eating these burritos when we're drunk. And unhoused guy comes up to us and says, "Hey, you guys got any money or like that?" And my brother's like, "No, we ain't got no money." And he's like, "Oh, all right." And my brother goes, "I ain't got no money, but you can have a bite of my burrito if you want." And then the homeless guy was like, "No." He's like, "I couldn't. I can't." And my brother's like, "Come on, man. I don't care. Have some of this burrito." And he sticks like the burrito in the homeless guy's face, and then the homeless guy goes, and then him and my brother just shared the burrito, and then we passed the burrito back and forth.
He didn't even grab it. He just bit it.
No, he just like that. And then they started passing it back and forth. But yeah, it was so funny. It was one of the most awesome things I've ever seen. Thank you so much for listening. Yes. We're going live with our Patreon this Friday, October 1st, with our first episode of Come to Church with Us. Going to go to Chad Veach's church. It's going to be awesome. My wife Julia of What's Your Sign fame is going to review it with us. That'll be live, and then I'm going to start rolling out at least podcasts, maybe not YouTube stuff, but podcast stuff. We are going to get your money's worth with our Patreon. Thank you so much for listening. You could please subscribe to us at YouTube, subscribe to us on the Apple Podcast and over at Spotify, sign up for our Patreon, follow us on Instagram at Read the Bible with Me Podcast. And thank you so much for listening. You can find me at Big Hern on Twitter, Hernia on Instagram. Gerardo, where can they find you?
Everything is GELOLDO.
Thank you so much. We very much love you, and we really appreciate your help and support. Hope you're liking the podcast. Bye.
Later.